Hello. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I mean, if there was any questions about Tehching and Linda being cult figures, welcome to Dia Beacon. My name is Humberto Moro, and I'm Deputy Director of Program here at Dia, and I'm co-curator of this exhibition. And it's my absolute pleasure to present today's conversation with Adrian Heathfield, Tehching Hsieh, and special guest Linda Montano on the occasion of the opening of Tehching Hsieh Lifeworks 1978-1999. Yeah. The exhibition opening today in the lower level and is going to be on view for 2 years and is the first retrospective of Tehching Hsieh's radical performances following the artist's gift of 11 career-defining works to Dia last year. Though primarily a painter in his early career, from 1978 onwards, Hsieh devised year-long performances that subjected his body and existence to conditions of intense confinement, labor, exposure, sleep deprivation, and intimacy, as well as regulated his artistic output. These feats of physical and psychological endurance foregrounded the relationship between art time, what he calls the time he endured for each performance, as well as the space between lifetime, and processes of meticulous documentation serving both as evidence and extension of the work itself. This exhibition covers from 1978 through 1999, a period in which Hsieh enacted his 5 iconic one-year performances, followed by a 13-year plan. For each of the one-year works, Hsieh lived locked down in a wooden cage, punch a clock in his studio every hour on the hour, live outside, navigating New York streets without any shelter, was tied to another artist, the one and only Linda Montano, and refrained entirely from making, viewing, and reading about or speaking about art. During Hsieh's final and longest performance, the artist made art but withheld it from the public for 13 years. This retrospective will also mark the first presentation of documentation of his and Montano raw piece, offering insight into the collaboration. And as a side note, this is the first time that Linda and Tehching discuss the piece publicly since they made it. Altogether, this exhibition offers an unprecedented opportunity to reflect on the artist's radical approach to time, endurance, and art as life. I do want to take a moment, and apologies for that, to acknowledge everyone involved in bringing this exhibition to life, past and present. First, our director, Jessica Morgan, who first identified this opportunity many years ago, Alexis Lowry, who worked closely on this project, the fantastic team at Dia, whose dedication made this exhibition possible, Curtis Harvey, Clara Ranefear, Randy Gibson, Alexis Pennington Foster, Elizabeth Peck, Scarlett Rigby, Brian Higby, our art handlers, and everyone involved. Thank you so much. I also like to thank the Taipei Cultural Center in New York for supporting today's talk. And this exhibition was made possible through the generous support of many funders, including the Ministry of Culture, Republic of China, Taiwan, the Hong Foundation, the Yagyo Foundation, and Jenny Ye at the Wincing Arts Foundation. Our gratitude extends to everyone who made this event possible at Dia, Beacon, Dan Wolf, Kim Golding, Olivia Taylor, Visitor Services team, and Ops team. Thank you so much for your special contribution. And I want to give a special shout out to Liv Kuniverti, who's curatorial assistant on this project, whose unwavering commitment has matched Tehching's own dedication. Thank you, Liv. Now, last but not least, I want to deeply thank my co-conspirator in all of this, curator, writer, and scholar Adrian Heathfield, the co-curator of this exhibition. Adrian has been incredibly generous and gracious throughout this process with his time and his attention and his incredible wealth of knowledge. Adrian, it has been a true joy to collaborate with you, and I couldn't be happier, and I'm deeply grateful for your partnership. Thank you. Adrian is a curator and thinker who has long explored the field of performance art, teaching at institutions such as Goldsmiths University in London, and collaborating with many institutions around the globe, like the Guggenheim Abu Dhabi or Tate. And for more than 2 decades, he has maintained a close and rational relationship with Tehching, a truly unique and exemplary model of a sustained intellectual and artistic engagement. And perhaps, Adrian, this is a great way to start our conversation, just thinking about how you first discovered Tehching, how did your relationship with him started?
Okay. Well, I guess I was a kid in the UK over the other side of the ocean, and I was very into experimental theater and performance art. And this was at the time when Tehching circulated really as an oral legend. He'd actually disappeared, and there was very little art historical writing on him of any deep kind, very little critical writing of other kinds. So I guess it was in the late 80s, somebody gave me a VHS bootleg tape of the Time Clock film. And I played this tape, and it completely blew my mind. And I then spent a decade trying to hunt this guy down critically, trying to find out everything about him. But there was still not very much, and he had disappeared. And in 1999, I wrote an essay on him. And then I went to the Judson Church on December the 31st, at the end of the 13-year plan, and finally saw Tehching announce his exit from the 13-year plan. And of course, I didn't dare speak to him. But about 3 years later, he wrote me an email saying that he'd read a translation of the essay. And so from that, a kind of a long dialogue across profound cultural difference ensued, starting and stopping, faltering, stuttering, and that led to many different projects. But in particular, first of all, it led to a book which is called Out of Now.
Yeah, and I wanted us to take a minute to look at the book. Well, this is an image of the exhibition, which is downstairs, the building today, that you're able to see this vantage point in which you see the time clock and the cage piece. But in the next slide, we have Adrian Tehching's Out of Now, which is until very recently, has been until very recently the only publication about Tehching. And it became sort of an object of desire. If you look for it, it's like $3,000 on eBay. But this book, I think, is the only other device that contains all of Tehching's practice. And I wanted to take a minute because the book really became a roadmap for us to think about the work, to think about the exhibition. So maybe you can say a few words about the book.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in a sense I was trying to write Tehching into history in a particular way. It's a monograph, but it was also the first time that, because of the page format, you could lay out the works serially. And so something was being seen, I think, for the first time. And I guess that's also why it's kind of a great index to make a show. And from that project, a whole bunch of other things spawned. There were some exhibitions of one-year performances. MoMA, Guggenheim did one-year performance each. And then in Venice in 2017, we finally managed to do the Venice Biennale for Taiwan, which was the first moment that two one-year performances came together. And suddenly, to me, everything started to make a very different kind of sense. And I really understood the power of that work.
Now, to think about the exhibition, there were, as you say, this awareness of Tehching works, the MoMA exhibition, the Venice Biennale, and at that time, Tehching really start thinking about what is the device or how best to present this body of work in a way in which it fully expresses the relationship between time and space. And that is sort of like the genesis of this model that is installed downstairs, sort of like at the end of the exhibition. So once you've navigated the exhibition, you have experienced in an embodied way how it feels to navigate time in a linear way. And at the end, the model tells this story about what Tehching calls our time and lifetime. So maybe you can say a few words about the genesis of this project, how this exhibition was born.
Well, Tehching had dreamt this exhibitional form. You're seeing the model of it here. After the event in 1999 and into the early 2000s, he began to think about what forms these works could take, a kind of afterlife of the performances in a way. And I think an idea slowly consolidated and a concept slowly came into being, which was that the spaces would directly be scaled to time. So effectively, the one-year performances are inside the rooms, and the time between the one-year performances is exactly to scale in relationship to the rooms. And of course, as you come to the end, you see the vast space of the 13-year plan. Now, of course, we weren't able to realize that in Dia. Dia is probably one of the only places we could realize this in the first place. But what has been so beautiful for me in this experience that I really hadn't expected is understanding for the first time through this concept that Tehching invented the scale of the ambition of this artist and the depth of his commitment to that practice. And what we do in the exhibition is we walk his lifeline. And putting ourselves inside that lifeline gives us an incredible insight into these extraordinary tests of different conditions, elemental conditions of existence that Tehching wanted to reveal. So it's really an amazing thing for me to feel for the first time that actually this work that, as you all know, was made by someone at the margins, someone who in a sense is making the work of a stranger, has found its home. And I really feel it belongs here in Dia.
Now, Adrian, just to think about what's happening here, what's happening today, now at Dia, we're very aware that we're working towards a better understanding of the canon we helped creating. And, we are in a gallery surrounded by this beautiful Andy Warhol work, which for me is very reminiscent of what happens in the Cage piece with the portraits. And Tehching is inhabiting this space where many of the artists and the works that are on view and have been on view are thinking about the power of negative space, of refusal, of representation, of seriality, the grids, many items that are important to conceptual and minimal practices. So maybe to reveal a little bit more of our curatorial conversation and to think about why and how is relevant to show Tehching today, if things have changed, what happens when we deploy this kind of work at Dia, So maybe we can offer a few reflections before we invite Tehching to the stage.
Actually, for me, it's extraordinary that we ended up in this room of all rooms, right? Because Warhol conceived shadows as one painting. Right? What we see is it's hundreds of paintings, depending on which room it's in, or many tens of paintings. And there's such an incredible resonance, I think, with Tehching's work, the way it moves between sameness and difference continuously. And you know, it's really striking for me to begin to understand that maybe actually what's downstairs is not a collection of works. Maybe it's actually one big work, an incredibly simple and devastatingly complex work that goes through all of these different modulations about questions of existence. And to me, so much of this work is incredibly prescient. I think, you know, Tehching was sending the work forcefully into the future by making these incredible documentary apparatuses and documentary machines. In a way, each of the rooms is a kind of documentary machine. But it feels like we've finally arrived in that future, and the resonances with our time, I think, are as powerful as they've ever been.
I mean, I don't know if this is the future we wanted to arrive to, but here we are. And, you know, just to think about how many of these processes of documentation were done by different technologies and also done in a different world. And it's almost hard to think about an artist being able to conduct such practice now, where, you know, can you think about going through an airport security tied to another person by an 8-foot rope? Can you imagine, you know, like what does it mean to portrait yourself in a time where, you know, self-representation has taken such center place in our culture? So this obviously preceded cell phones, the constant exposure to screens that we endure today. And I think, you know, for me, it's incredibly rich to think how, in a way, Tehching was making technology work to articulate an idea, and that gesture itself is so powerful, and it's perhaps the opposite of what's happening now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a huge shame if it were understood in relationship to the culture of the selfie, because it's really not work that's about substantiating or circulating the self or promoting the self. I think it's work that has at its center an extraordinary self-sacrifice, and as we see later on, a kind of systemic self-erasure. So it really feels like it comes from a deep, different ethos, but it does tell us about the ways in which technology has gotten under our skin, is inherent to who we are. So he doesn't clock on 9 to 5 in the old Fordist sense of a worker's time clock. He clocks on 24/7. And I think in doing that, he's saying all of life will be consumed by labor. All of life will be linked to these technologies of imaging and of capture of the subject. And that's where we are, I think.
And maybe the last idea that I want to touch upon before moving forward is this bureaucratic language that Tehching adopted throughout the show. It was very important for him to know that he was not cheating. There are plenty of witness statements, and there is this bureaucratic language that is rehearsed. And, you know, as David Graeber from the London School of Economics used to say, the one thing that technology hasn't been able to replace is bureaucracy, right? We still have documents, and we're still filling forms and like stamping forms and signing forms. So in a way, for me, this show also brings an elemental question of faith or visibility.
I don't want to say any more than that, because it's the perfect moment to bring on the flesh in which we have faith.
Alrighty. So you had a message for Dia too.
a message
for Dia.
Oh, wonderful. Do I?
You do.
So brilliant that I can't remember it. Apart from to say an enormous thank you to Dia for doing this. It's extraordinary that this place agreed to it. But it is also, I think, a moment, and I'm very aware of that there is a real gathering of people in the room, many of whom are, in a sense, fellow travelers or followers of Tehching. It's amazing to see so many faces and meet so many people from the 1980s art scene in New York. But yeah, and I think, all along what we've been doing is, in a sense, trying to hold the community of conversation around this work. And we're so grateful that Dia is able to continue that labor now in holding Tehching's work in the collection.
And so many familiar faces, collaborators, people that were actually there when the performances was happening. So in a way, it's really great to see a community coming together. So maybe this is a good segue to welcome Tehching to the stage.
Well, thank you so much for coming. Thank you very much. And before anything else, I want to say how grateful I'm to many people in India and help me to make this exhibition with the Adrian and Humberto and Liv. The name is very difficult for me to speak English speak. So in a deeply, I would say thank you to every one of you. And this, I planned for this retrospective. Actually, it's 25 years ago, and I do my perform. I make this perform. It's 47 years ago. So this is it's like I waiting for quite little longer, and I'm happy for this have a find a home in there. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
So Tehching, we're going to take you back in time more than 47 years ago to Taiwan and to Nanzhou, where you lived. And early on, as Humberto mentioned, you were painting a lot. And it seems to me that you were cycling through very fast an extraordinary range of different styles of painting. But you landed up, or you wound up in something that was a little close to action painting in some way or another. Can you say more about why you were doing the kinds of paintings you were doing? And I believe where you were doing them is quite important.
Yeah, actually, when I was very little, like 10 years old, I still have about 10 years old painting. So I'm good for painting, so I actually totally serious. It's about 18 years old. I become very serious. I quit the high school. I don't feel, education is good for the way I understanding, the and since. And also, I read a book like Dostoevsky or Franz Kafka or existentialism. So that kind, for me, is a practice in a teenage, in a later time, teenage is very important. And also Vincent van Gogh, when I stopped painting, I think his life was his work very affect me. By the time in art, in different period of time, definition of art. So I start from painting. The painting just showing here. This is a 73, but later I become feel I'm because it's young and I'm 20 around something like that. So I like to try a different kind of way to do it. So I do something become repetition, pen like a circle, the pen repetition. So I just do 30 page and continue. And later I do like some other work. It's the same thing, have continued repetition. And also that happened all in 1977 that year. I have 3-year army in 1973 and March. And then I use camera first time I take picture. I use that way to find a new way to do, and also Super 8 to do some document. And then I don't do pen anymore. And I still feel I had to go to New York because it's no, in Taiwan it's a concert, in that period of time. So I cannot get out of the country. Even a 3-year army is a military. I had to be. That's the Taiwan. Every man, if you are healthy, you have to be saved for that.
But somehow you managed to do over 100 paintings in that time, right? Your military service was...
Yeah, I do a lot of painting when I in the army, because I do, I'm lucky I have a big space for do my work. Even I'm in Taiwan called front line in near China called Nanzhou. It's one island in front line near China. So I do a lot of work, and my family give me support, very generous. I have a lot of material and to do paint.
So when you made this change from painting to photographs and to film, you were doing serial works. This is a piece where you captured spills from tar in the road.
Yeah, this is I use first time is camera, and similar like my painting. I saw the worker in the street repair the road, right? And that time I feel is just good, as good as like a Jackson Pollock. But that time I don't know Jackson Pollock, but I can just take picture and then the part, and then I buy Super 8 camera and then shot the document. Right? And this is one of action I jumped, in second floor, 15 feet, and so I broken in 4 months I had to lay down in the bed, but I still quickly, because I'm good. Of course I'm thinking also good too, but I mean that my action. I went to train Marine because I want to jump ship to go to New York, and I do the all year time. So I had the 3 months training in Taiwan, the ship coming. And at that time I used when you get the feet problem, you have put this. Yeah, I used that, and then they say you cannot. I said quickly I will be done. Good. So I trained, and then I waiting for one oil tank. That job I do in under the engineer section. The oil tank went to Iran to their oil, and then go to America, because the mobile coming to right now. And then I don't know where they're going, but I find they want to go to near Philadelphia, the Delaware River, and then parking in there. So I already quickly, 2 months in the oil tank, then I already escaped to, going to New York. So that's, and
Now-
then that's the way.
Now, Tehching, you come to New York in 1974 in a ship, and you take a cab from New Jersey to New York City. And there are 4 years in which you are working in the city before you start your first performance, that is the cage piece. Can you say a few words about what is it that you are doing in those 4 years? How do you come to the city? What was happening then?
Well, because I have dreaming to come here because I know here that time, New York is art center in the world. And I don't know the reality is so tough. I come here and I had to be survival and illegally. So I actually, you see, I have problem because I'm not good. In some way, I'm a little bit primitive, because the Soho, I take 2 years to find Soho. You see, that's so slow, to find Soho. Well, of course, Soho, that name is later, I know. It's no mean, I don't know where is the art center in New York. By accident, then I find, that's area called Soho. Right. But to me, I do, you see, I find some Taiwan, Taiwanese artist community. So I found this job in the Soho, is a Chinese owned the restaurant and I can do the clean the restaurant. And before I do the dishwash and clean the restaurant midnight, so I still can sing in by myself. And so to me, I do have like 3 hours in the home, sleep, and then I clean the midnight, and then I clean the faster, then I sleep there 3 hours, so 6 hours, and then I become every day like Sunday to me. I can be free. But actually, I have 4 years, I just thinking, I don't know where I can do art because it's a cultural shock and everything had to start from beginning again. Even I already do a lot of work in Taiwan, but come here, everything had to be changed. So I just do the thinking. I cannot do any action, and certainly every day I come home. One day in 1978 I become one. I already do you know the one movie Stanley Cooper make what's called Space of 2001.
Space Odyssey by Stanley Kubrick. Yeah.
The inside have one beginning film like caveman, find a bone, right? So to me, you see, my work is that way beginning. I use that tool, then I already know what I'm doing. I'm just 4 years. I use 1 year. So I waste 4 year time. So just do a piece. 1 year is nothing to me, Then, of course, in the age, like 23 to 28, that's time, young age, you feel that kind of time, you already so important time, but you cannot do any create. That's very, very fear fighting. So I really feel strong. I had to be, make this become a peace, just thinking and do nothing. So that's my 1 year perform. First piece come out of that.
Now, in 1978, you start performing your year-long performances with the cage piece. And you design this cage that goes inside your studio. And you build everything by hand, the cage. You devise these seals that are signed by a lawyer to give faith that you didn't break the performance. You ask your friend to bring you food and to take your waste. Can you tell us about how you ideated this performance and what happened during this time? What were you thinking?
Well, because to me, thinking, I don't try to think inside or outside. It's of course, every day I have to thinking about food. When Chen want to give me food, because food I eat, then I feel good for that day. Meal is very good. But of course, first 3 months, I thinking my past, everything, because I don't have new sources coming. I only thinking all life, everything past. And then 3 months already actually empty. I already empty. I don't have anything new things. And then I become fine flow. You know, that kind of little detail or the insight or something. That become give me new sources. Another way, my mind become just only to scratch mark every day.
You were saying how scratching these marks on the drywall with your nail clipper gave you a sense of control about time.
Yeah, because you see, we are like you say, I do the piece 28 years old, right? So I have a 28 years old in a normal life. And that kind of normal life is day by day. So if I go into 1 year, that this piece, I cannot lay down and then become until finish. I cannot. I have to feel like day by day. So even I thinking, repeating, everything I still have to do again. I cannot, no thinking and then deep inside. Because if I don't thinking, even I want to mark the 1 day, I cannot even make it. You know what I mean? So that is basically I had to be, make it I'm in control. No, I'm control, the piece,
Now, in the work, there are several ways throughout the works, there are several ways in which time is accounted for and it's revealed. So, the self-portraits, you shaving your head in the beginning and then your hair growing over time, that perhaps is a different way of counting time with your body.
Yeah, that's good. If you want to talking about time process, I think just cut hair, that's very good for, you see me, nothing change. Every day, if 19 times open to public, but people come here, it's nothing different. Even every day, people not coming, but it's the same. Because I make statement clear. You don't read, not talking, no writing, or no watch TV or listen to radio. So that make clearly what I'm doing is just thinking. But still have some little detail, but that kind of detail is, I have to be, like I say, for example, the cage room, I 3 months, I already feel so limited. I feel, straight, you know what I mean? So I try make the space bigger. So I make the corner of bed is my home. Another 3 corners is outside, outdoor. So I have go out, take a walk, and then come home. That way I make a day. If I don't like, I cannot survive for.
Now, something that is not perhaps public and we can reveal as a special treat to our audience today is that you actually had a hard time coming out of the cage. And you stayed a bit longer after that year because it was too hard to come out.
I know in that day, you see, I marked the last one. I already know that's the last day. So, I feel confident. I feel last day I don't want to drink. I don't want to drink water because I don't want in public to pee. In public, I don't want. So I try not drink. But that day after I do give people about asking me question and I thought, okay, that test I already know I already wrong estimate. It's this kind of new outside give me the message. I already know I have problem, but I still know what my situation. But you see, that day after I work like because 1 year you work in a small, your balance is fine. But if you work so big space, and then you feel your brain no balance, look like but I still stay. The doors deep open, but I still 1 month in that cage because I feel I cannot right away become deep in normal life. And 1 month after, I had to do the job because, for survival issue. Yeah.
Now, you went into what you call lifetime after the art time, and it's not too long until you move on your next performance, which we can see some of these images.
So, Tehching, it's quite short, the amount of time between that reality of psychological disturbance and difficulty and the next piece, which takes your body into a completely different condition. Because in this piece, you clocked onto the worker's time clock on the hour, every hour. Huge amount of sleeplessness.
Well, before that, you see, our time, then between that lifetime, right? I want people to know, because you see, it's almost 7 months or something, you know what I mean? So you have to know I'm now character person, I'm impatient person, but I service for patient for the long duration. I can do that. But so between that, each piece between that gap, a very short time to handle everything, and then I can do next piece, include the money or survival everything. So you have to know how fast I have to be. So I do my work is long piece for 1 year. But to me, like say, okay, this is the art time is instead. Then in a lifetime, then become boom, boom, boom. Look like, okay, today we want to do this, then handle this, everything. That's all by myself. You know, like, for example, this piece, the temporal piece, like, for example, I know. Okay, like I say, I try to get this image right. And camera there, I all for my one person. I don't somebody watch and then I do this. I all make tape, everything right, and then I go there, that. Then the frame bring to the lab, then come back, then I know this is the way I want. So you see, in the piece that regular time, I already do so many things fast. That's what I'm talking about. Thanks.
The fast seems really important because the documentation is not, it's not very artful in a sense. You're just trying to capture time itself, right? It's a very particular kind of documentation you embark on. Like, can you say more about why did you then enter into this form of documentation that's so relentless, so systemic?
You see, I'm not good for 50 years. My English still not understand what you say. Well, because you see, to me, art time, lifetime is no different for my life. I already training myself because this kind of work is not about technique. It's my body, my concept is technique. So I already practice, you know, like I say, Dostoevsky or Franz Kafka, or even my mother, that kind. When I'm young, you know, I become, that kind of lifetime is not only just short between two pieces. That kind of lifetime, I already make me become, you know, we don't call that art time. But to me, that is look like if I use the Bahama Canal, right? Canal, you have the water same level and make a ship you can pass, right? So to me, in a lifetime, the ship to go to art time, either way, I already make same water level. Same water level, then that ship can go. So to me, if you say that kind of thing, to me, it's just like it's just normal. Yeah, because I already training. But I don't want my work is not about Superman or hero. But my body, I had to be training, become that kind of way to service my work. Yeah. Right.
Now, in this image, we see the system you devised to wake yourself up, which is bypassing the alarm of the watch through a cassette recorder and sleeping with a speaker above your head so you could actually hear the sound. And you miss very few punches, actually. You can see those missing punches recorded. And, you know, something that Adrian and I have been discussing is kind of like flavor of human error in the system that is precise and exact and perfect, and how you accounted for that error, right? So in this piece, you mark with a red pen the times in which we were sleeping or were late.
Not only that, early too.
Early, sure.
Yeah, because my eyes not open. 59, I already punched. That's because you don't really check out. You will know I'm lazy. I'm lazy worker. Because I don't open my eyes, I can punch because I feel comfortable. But I still missing. I have 10 times early, you know. but that's.
Yeah,
you have
that's
some other
great.
question?
That's great. No, just to keep track of time, after a year of sleeplessness, you moved into the outdoor, and you devised the performance piece in which you spent a year in the open space without any shelter. You subjected yourself to the really hard conditions of New York City. And, this is also a work that is, I think, contingent of what was happening in New York City in the 80s and how many empty lots there were in the Lower East Side, and which was the area in which you were primarily navigating. And you trace your movement with maps, with the live images that we see per season. So maybe you can say a few words about this incredibly challenging work and the time that you had living outside.
I don't know. My English not good. What's the question you want to ask me?
不是做了，后来你又做了一整年的那个在户外的嘛，然后你就用你的那个地图呢，就是点出你在纽约的每个地方嘛。他们可以讲一讲你在一整年在户外生存的一些心路历程，然后和你自己的一些感受。
Well, this kind of I'm poor answer because to me, just passing time in outdoor, that's the piece, right? It's not like what I'm doing. Like say I have a friend in the beginning told me, you're doing this piece. Then he said, why not learn English in this piece the time? I said, I don't want to learn. Then he said, what do you want to do? I said, wasting time is the most I'm good for. So your question asking me how I wasting time, that's the question you asking me? How
a little bit, yeah. I mean, it's a demanding experience to be outside in the winter, sleeping in the street. How was that time to you opposed to being caged or punching the time?
他说在户外其实有户外自己本身的挑战嘛，你看四季那个天气也很恶劣，然后你跟在这个森林动物的时期的比较有什么样不同？
I say, I know. You say because no song. Okay, because I told you, concepts technique. So even like to me, that kind is technique. Like people, if everybody here now to see my work, and then they make believe that they do the piece. So they have a different, response. Say what do I do it? But to me, doesn't matter. I do temporal piece or I do other piece. It's technique, and I know I can handle it. Then I do that. But you ask me that question, I don't know what to. I eat food. I build fire to make one. I don't wash because I don't wash my body.
You were washing yourself in the river. You were hiding money in the bushes. You were using the street as your home.
Well, I know this kind is not important for me, but because I have somebody help me in indoor. So because if I do something like my document, I don't carry all my clothes. Somebody to give me, money, or I don't ask money on street. even have some people want to give me money, but I don't want to explain, oh, I'm not homeless people, you know. But if they give me, I will take it because I better to that way. It's simple, you know, because they feel this person, I should feel, you know, sorry for him, you know. So, but to me, well, I don't. Is it? I become slowly. I don't know how to.
No. I think you've explained exactly what I was saying about your experience. But there's a few other images that we can see of you.
Yeah, to me, okay. For example, the piece. You know, I'm person. I like clean person, right? So this piece most challenging is dirty. But I told you, I know, I understand. For technique is like keep dirty. It's good technique for peace because you want to try to more clean, then you cannot stay outside. But you protect your skin like many coat, dusty. That's making you you know, to stay in outside good, right? And then I just only watch one time in Hudson River, and then this just show, you know, that's 2 times. You know, 2 times is not enough for.
And then during this time, there is an unfortunate event, which is an arrest that forces you to break the rules for the first time in your performances, and they bring you in. But something really interesting happens because the judge, who had read an article about your work, allows you to not come to court consistent with your art. So can you say something about what happened?
Because you see, I think homeless people, you stay, you know, I think people don't like homeless. Even the dog, they don't like homeless because they were bad, you know, if dog, they see you, you know, feel you are not welcome. But owner, of course, they don't welcome me. So I sit there on building, and then I drink cup of tea, then they told me, get out there. But I feel, you know, of course, I don't feel, I say I finished my tea, I get out. Then he go inside to get metal, come to me, and then throw my back, you know, far away. And inside I have camera, so I feel angry. But I don't, one thing I don't know is, I have Bruce Lee, the chopstick. That's law say is a 2nd-degree weapon. I use that, I fight back with him. So then, but you see, he called police and catch me. But police are very nice. They don't just take my stick and then say, don't go back. You know, I explain. But second time, 1 month, they find me in street hanging around. So they call a friend and police car come all that way, and then catch me. So I get arrested, yeah.
Now, something that happens during this time, which I find fascinating, is that you come back to use your real name. You've been using so far the name of Sam, and it's during that period that you come back to your real name, Tehching, and you start signing posters and other objects in the performances. Can you say a bit of why, what happened?
Yeah, because before the piece, young curator, the name Jonah Immerman, she do one curator a show called Illegal American. So the one pick up that I have one piece concept about immigration poster. I put poster and hang it and say if immigration always catch me, you know, that. But I do an outdoor piece. So that time the immigration wanted the poster become my real name, and that's in the outdoor piece time. So I changed my name because I'm illegal 14 years. So that time I still illegal, but I'm not psychological, I'm not free. So I become changing my Tehching, yeah, the name, yeah, Tehching Hsieh, yeah.
Now, in terms of time, the work that would follow outdoor would be Robe, but because Linda's here, we're gonna skip Robe and we'll come back to it when Linda is up on the stage. So maybe we can jump to No Art.
So you're coming out of the work with Linda, which is, in a sense, because you have tied yourself to another person, you're also in connection with more people. It's a much more social piece. And then after that piece, you decide to make the no art piece. Can you say a little bit about this piece? Why no art? It's a paradoxical piece.
You see, to me, when I do in the catch piece time, and later the time I already singing, how I can continue to do power work, like this level. But too far, no bad. I make 6 pieces, right? You know what I mean? But that time, each piece, first catch piece and time clock piece, outdoor piece, I all have enough time before in that piece, I already get an idea. Low piece, I get it. But after low piece, I have one idea, but I test it and no good. And then I don't want to lifetime the gap more than 365 days. So if you people go to see model my work, you will see that gap is 361 days. So almost 365 I become, that's where I understand life. Life is we have daylight, right? Because we die one day, you know what I mean? But also in normal, before die, we still in life have many daylight. So that daylight come out, then no idea. So nature become just no art, become that piece, and just that. So I make a form for that time. In certain year, I do art and no part. But to me, passing time, and I really I wasting time. That kind I'm good for. But to see if people maybe don't feel this art, that's no. I don't put attention too much about that. Yeah.
But you had, up to that time, accumulated all these incredible documents and objects, kept all the artifacts. And at this point in your trajectory, what happens is you are heading towards invisibility. This is an artwork that kind of cancels itself. And then you make the 13-year plan in which you do make art, but you say, I'm not going to show it publicly. So we have this movement where you are withdrawing from visibility. You said one time to Humberto and I that this is, that the whole Lifeworks is like an iceberg. Can you explain?
You see, today we are here to me, my work is about, the work is, I use the time. Time is my leader, is the leader of, is actor. Space is supporting actor. But today I show in the Dia space become main leader, and then time become invisible, just become a document and object there. So to me, I use this iceberg, try to say my work. It's like today we show in Dia is more like whole iceberg. And first, the 4 piece is about the water, flow, and then no art in certain year is like under the water. So that's the whole thing become the kind of work I do. And then I know people maybe have different way to respond, but that's the way I understand in life and the way I can do the artwork.
When you did the 13-year plan, you told me once that in the middle of the 13-year plan, you tried to make another piece, another performance called Disappearance. Can you say what Disappearance was and what your intention was? I know for you it's not an artwork because you didn't finish it.
Because, when I do in that period of time, I find this period, the way make this piece, because this period is same direction about I don't do art public. So no public, but disappear is a double, disappear. But in reality, I don't make this, I try to dry cut, to bring my own tool, because I'm doing construction kind of skill I have. So I bring tool and then go to dry car to Seattle. And I try to stay there prepared to go to Alaska until the finish the piece. But actually, I don't make a, half year. The reality is so tough, very difficult, and I give up. So the end I don't count that become peace, I just keep myself that. That's the end. Yeah.
So I think this would be a great moment to invite Linda Montano to the stage.
So, Linda's work, as Humberto has indicated, consistently dissolved art life boundaries, creating a long, long legacy of works convened within the everyday, using shared experience, ritual and ceremony, transitional practices, role play to initiate processes of healing, spiritual engagement and transformation. And it really is the case that we need to do and would have to do a 3-hour conversation with Linda to really address this incredible body of work that she has manifested. But instead, because time is quite short, what we've decided to do is to play a game. I don't know if this game has a name, Linda. Maybe it's a kind of jukebox Linda, or a kind of chance jukebox Linda. And so Linda has a set of topics and that she's put into the space for us. And Liv, I think, is going to select some topics randomly from a box of numbers.
The first one is number 4, how communicate.
Hi, Hsieh.
Hi,
How we communicated. Phase 1, verbal. Hsieh and I talked 6 hours a day in the beginning. Phase 2, pulling on each other, yanking on the rope. Correction. You can correct me anytime.
Correct.
You can correct me.
My English is not that good. I don't understand.
It is very good, Hsieh. We talked ourselves out. But the pulling produced anger. Phase 3, gesture. Bathroom with gesture. We pointed when we wanted to go to eat or do other things. Pointed to the kitchen. Phase 4, grunted. We had no language left. And we made audible sound. Moaning, from verbal to nonverbal, regression. Next.
Number 8, archetypes.
Archetypes. Yeah, I just found this interesting. I'm not going to get into it, but if you AI archetypes for the rope, Prometheus, religious cults, Jesus sometimes tied on the cross, Plato, prisoner in the cave, Sisyphus chained to a rock. In Hindu weddings, there's a rope between the bride and groom. The damsel in distress is tied to the railroad ties, but in our case, we were both in distress. Next.
Number 12 are different intentions.
Different intentions. Hsieh's point of view is personal to him. And if you go to Linda Montano Blogspot, my collaborator, Toby Carey, has posted our only interview from 1984 with Alex and Allison Gray on the rope. It's wonderful. And honest to God, all of this is coming from that interview and a piece that I wrote in 1984. So it's all, you could find the same stuff I'm saying here in those two sources on my blog. Thank you, Toby Carey. My point of view, remember I was a nun. Remember I was raised strict Catholic. Remember I wanted to be a priest or the Pope. It didn't happen. So I lived in a convent for 2 years instead. But my intention was to move from the Zen Center where I was living with Pauline Oliveros in Mount Tremper, New York for 3 years. But I wanted to continue to train my mind. I had retired from art, but I said, oh my God, look at this guy. I got to work with him. I wanted to uncover anger. I didn't know that at the time. I wanted to watch the ego. I didn't know that until I did this piece. I wanted to grow in courage. I didn't know that until I was tied with the master. I wanted to applaud his impeccability. I wanted the difficulty of the rope to focus me. Every second, there are 7 stimuli grabbing our attention. Doom scrolling for, and so the rope pulled this possibility of going into who, what, where, when, why, what am I thinking? Why did I do that in 19, can't stay in past or future when you're tied with a rope. But the same can be said for a pregnant woman. The same could be said for someone working on it. The rope is life. We just choose which rope is going to give us spaciousness, compassion, courage. I wanted to make friends with boredom. And if I would, yeah, that's it on that one.
Number 11, jobs.
Oh, jobs is good. Hsieh, you can correct me. This one, we worked very hard.
Huh?
We worked very hard.
Yes.
Our first job, we walked my dog 3 times a day. How many people do that? That's a rope. We took a photo a day, a job. We took turns every month to wear the cassette tape and recorded everything we said. And after 4 months, we didn't talk that much, but everything we said to everyone else. So you'll see in this fabulous installation, incredibly done, beautiful, all the tapes, but they're sealed. No one will ever know what we said, which is probably a good thing. 4, Hsieh says construction. He's a fine carpenter. and he's a fine designer. He made this impeccable studio installation, art installation, where we lived and slept, two bunk beds. The rope kind of dipped between bed 1 and bed 2. The bathroom, no door. So he worked 8 hours a day. Hsieh, is it true I stood under the ladder for 8 hours a day, handing him, I'm not talking suffering here. I was raised Catholic, but I'm not talking suffering. I'm talking art. There's a difference. And it was done with this intentionality. It was done with this embrace and support of intention. I stood under the ladder and handed him tools, happily. I taught for 7 weeks at Tyler School of Art, Pennsylvania, and we told them they were getting 2 for 1. We had a gallery job at Richard Bellamy's Oil and Steel Gallery in Tribeca, hanging art together. That was our best job. You know, just this image of him over here holding the painting and I'm over here holding the painting. It was wonderful. We flew to Maine on an airplane, would not happen today, and talked about the rope piece. Any other jobs we did, Hsieh?
Where?
Any other jobs that we did?
Well, you went to Pennsylvania for teach job. Right? We go take train, and to me, I do construction. Yeah, some construction work. You know, they only pay one person, so it's very hard.
Linda, maybe you can do number 2.
You're breaking the rules.
I'm breaking the rules.
How I met Hsieh?
Yes, I think that's very important.
Okay. Is Martha Wilson in the house? Yes! Yay!
Woo! Oh, Martha. Okay.
Martha Wilson, this is a gift of the interview with Allison and Alex Gray, posted in High Performance by Linda Burnham, the founders, and Steve Derland. And there's a copy in here, and a donation to Franklin Furnace, and a graduation present to you for being the matchmaker, for bringing us together.
You want the gift for Martha?
Yeah. Yeah. As I said, I had retired. I had spent 10 years in California. I was a California artist. I was not a LA artist. I was a San Francisco artist, always. And you know what that means. Get my drift on that. It's political. But living 3 years in the Zen Center, I was on the fast track to being a Roshi. That was my fondest dream. And, but I came into the city, and I was writing my second book, A Performance Artist Talking in the 80s. I wanted to interview, I saw posters of Hsieh. I wanted to interview him about money. Why? I don't know. But I went to Martha Wilson, the queen, the super queen of performance and of all things. And she knew Hsieh, and she brought us together at Franklin Furnace. And he had another idea. He was looking for someone to be tied to. And I had an art life feel, had already done what I considered to be my last action, one of which was handcuffed for 3 days, not 1 year, 3 days, to Tom Marioni. But I lived for a year with a video camera as 7 different people, not Bob Dylan, but later Bob Dylan. And that's a video, Learning to Talk, on YouTube. So I felt kind of pumped. I could do this. I could do this. I've been there. I can do this. I can do this, Hsieh. I can do this. So we talked for 7 months. We practiced for a week, 3 days and 4 days. The first time we practiced, we wore a rope. We took a shower first, wore the rope, with a rope, went into a Chinese restaurant, and it started shrinking. And did we cut ourselves out of that rope in that restaurant, Hsieh?
You ask me?
Yeah.
About what?
When the rope shrunk, when we were in the restaurant, when we were rehearsal?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember. I read about it. It's in the interview.
No, but I know we do the piece before.
Yeah,
we have a test, and that we find that's too rough.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
maybe that one.
Yeah.
We feel too tight, then we change it. This side, yeah.
But the good, what would you call it? Wanting to be understood and heard. I said during the rehearsals, or during the 7-month conversations, which were many, Hsieh, why don't we do this with electronics? Thinking, wow, isn't that wonderful? But I had been obviously trained by Pauline Oliveros to think in that way. And I was extremely proud. You know, why don't we just do this with electronics? We could have beepers, but we decided, and correctly, the rope was correct. Next.
Number 16, Song to Endurance.
Oh, the song. This is interactive because all of us are performance artists. Our first performance was inside a cave, in water, 24/7, attached by our navel, by a rope, to a food source. And we endured. And that was practice for coming out to enduring this life. So since we're all interactive performance artists, could you join me in this song too? And you add your own words. It's called an interactive song to endurance. And let's just choose one note, your own note. Choose your own note. And then your own words that come up. Interactive song to endurance. Endurance, you sometimes, but not always are, a joy buster. You're a time dissolver. Ooh. You're a vow embracer. Ah. You're a fear instigator. Oh. You're an anger inducer and cure. You're a danger encourager and a trip to the subconscious. Oh, endurance, you're a martyr or duplicator. Oh, endurance, you're a silence embracer. Oh, there are only a few more of these left. Oh. Oh, endurance, you're an emotion stimulator. You're a button pusher. Oh, endurance, oh, endurance, oh, endurance. Oh, endurance, you're a patience mentor. Oh, endurance, and don't we all endure? Don't we all endure 24/7? Oh, endurance, you're an anxiety inventor and an anxiety fixer. Oh, endurance, oh, endurance. Oh, endurance, you're a peace creator and a space maker. Oh, endurance, a shadow revealer, a will strengthener, an ego buster, a trauma revealer, a trauma healer. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah, heal that trauma endurance. Oh yeah, heal that trauma. Oh, heal that trauma endurance. Oh, heal that trauma. Oh, heal that trauma. Oh, unload that trauma endurance. Oh, more trauma endurance, healing endurance. You're a courage maker, you're a mind streamer, and you're an end game rehearser. Keep rehearsing us, endurance.
People can see how Linda is a good story talker. That's why in the 1983-84, the TV interview then all cut me out, just only Linda. But it's great. Yeah.
Thank you, Linda. I guess that we have a time for a couple questions. There's one behind over there, Mina.
Congratulations on the show. It looks beautiful. Great job, everybody. I guess I have a lot of questions to ask, but probably the most important one for me is your work seems like sort of like 5% concept, 95% commitment. So I would like to know where you get the energy, or where you got the energy to have that kind of commitment to actually finish these works.
Is that mean us? Do you mean I have the answer? Oh, what?
You are 5%. 95%.
What?
你去哪里拿到你的这个能量，你的这个活力是怎么来的？
Well, because you said hello, okay. Oh, this from Life Foundation. it's not, because most of we are talking about is art in here, right? But actually, under the water, that's part, you don't see it. You see in that, actually that is probably 95%, right? You know what I mean? You're talking about 9%, 5% or 95%, that is overflow in the top. But to me, I develop is under that part. It's compare the top part, that can be, it's about, 90%, quite strong. So that's way. But of course, everybody life different, develop. But to me, the way I understand 探究本质怎么？探究本质，探究本质。
Yeah, I want to see the truth. I want to see the truth.
No， 探究本质。探究本质。
本质嘛，对，就是 truth. Yeah, essential the truth.
Yeah, essential. The truth. That's way I understanding. It's not about what art or life. It's about that. So I just develop. It's very personal the way I develop. So.
Can I ask you? Can I ask? Well, okay. Go ahead.
In the diagram that you have of the iceberg, maybe you can project it. Yeah, you have the above the water, it is like the art life, and under the water is there no art life or the life itself. I don't know if it has any deep meaning that above the water is the art life, and what happened with the other part of life that is not part of the art life, like the above and under. Thank you.
You see, I don't get it. Your song, to me, I don't know what, I don't understand, sorry. Yeah. Well, because to me, it's not art. Because my art is also time. Doesn't mean art time, lifetime is all doing time. So no different. When I do in art time, it's already something is life. It's doing life. So my thinking is not different. You know what I mean? To me, my foundation is a repetition, nothing new. But what can be new? Only I feel strong. Like I say, Stanley Cooper, the movie, the bone, I feel, I do it. That's the way I only that. Then I mark that, make a mark. Yeah.
Maybe one last question over there.
Hello. I was wondering if the 13-year plan, which at the end of which you say that you have kept yourself alive. So why did it end in 2000, and how do we know it doesn't continue until now? So what's the difference between the lifetime inside that art time? Why was that art time, and why did it end in 2000?
My work is time, it's just like I know I'm going to die someday, right? But that kind of time, I'm 74. So it's to me, the lifetime, because I use 1 year, the kind of, also with, like I said, if I like an intersection of life, you see the many, thing, day, a month, a year, but you see the universe, that's the intersection. So to me, I don't, no, to me, this, no, too short, kind of not so different to me. Yeah. I don't feel different. It's the same. Yeah.
Well, I want to thank everyone for coming today. This was a historic moment. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Tehching. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you.